at the bottom.
Yeah, no.
Don't know, no experience.
Yeah, like, that's on them. I feel like the only regions that understand how good duck hunt is, like, the Midwest and Florida, who have a couple of notable duck hunts.
Hey, New York's learning the hard way.
Yeah, no, Zane's showing it to him, consistently proving to be one of the best performers with this character in a really difficult region to do that, because not only do you have a lot of meta threats, you have a lot of obscure matchups, like Duck Hunt Samus.
It doesn't get much more obscure than this. This is two characters that have been irrelevant from Nintendo history since, I'm going to say, what, 96? So, like, yeah, we will see which of these dead franchises will come out on top here.
So we're back in the best-of-5 territory for Losers Finals, and we are looking at potentially a candle burner of a set. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, certain bouts of just massive percentage put on the board.
Yeah, and so far it's been Rawk doing the damage and putting the percent on the board, which is not the way I would expect this set to go, where you've got a character who has some consistent, like, 0 to 50 combos with the clay pigeon stuff. You wouldn't think it would be Samus to start with the heavy damage.
You know, starting aggressively is actually a really good call from Samus, because there's a lot of little things in this matchup that add up to being atrocious for Samus in the long run. All of Samus's projectiles cannot beat out the clay shooter.
Yes,
Clay pigeon just sits in front and can do that.
But there are some intricacies that you have to be aware of. Samus can snatch a hiding duck hunt dog from behind all of this, behind the shooter, behind the can, where most characters can't, like, grab you through all that. They have to get in your face. Samus can grab you from half a stage length away, and as a result, I think we're going to see a lot of grabs from Rawk as long as he times them well.
Yeah, ultimately, it ends up being a lot of that projectile pressure and, you know, taking that first step into making the projectile war their favor that gives Rawk the first kill.
Ooh, this juggle game, though, is looking very scary, and a down air might come out here. No, a back air instead forces Rawk to find a way back to stage here.
I love the choice of down throw from Rawk consistently, because it just does not care about any of the other projectiles that are on the field.
And I love that tech chase on the platform with the up air, although ultimately it didn't work out. It was a nice attempt reminding Zane, like, hey, you have to stay on your toes because this combo is not over.
The fact that Rawk is, like, chilling on the platforms above Duck Hunt, knowing fully aware that they are safer as long as they have to respond to the vertical pressure as opposed to the lateral pressure, is just so smart.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for Rawk to deal with up air, despite up air being a huge and very strong move from Duck Hunt. Like, yeah, see, from the front, that forward air doesn't really cover a lot, and that's exactly what we don't want to deal with as Samus, is fighting from the front.
Oh, and the threat of can hovering over, so Rawk couldn't turn around to go for the offensive. But almost catching with the up smash.
Oh, see, that's what we're looking for on these platforms. We're kind of just chilling up here. These bombs will add a little bit of extra defense, but really what it is one bad hit on shield. If Zane doesn't perfectly space their moves, then Rawk's going to find an opportunity to get an up B on a platform, which is just as deadly as a charge shot in the corner. So back to the platforms we go, as Rawk is sitting pretty at, I'd say, a half a stock lead.
Yeah, the fact that Game 1 brought us to Battlefield is really interesting, because I feel like both of these characters can do very well on this stage.
Yes.
But against each other, I feel like that vertical space just works out so well for Samus defensively, and we're seeing that in action. Although Zane's certainly not out of it just yet.
Yeah, this space, Samus loves to work with it. And Duck Hunt normally does too, yes, but something about the way Rawk's playing this one is making it work out in his favor.
I mean, it's really just the fact that he's chilling like a floor upwards. And the fact that gunman took so long to fire, I don't think Rawk was ready.
Yeah, the short one I think is the longest timer, and the trench coat is the fastest timer.
Yep, the quickest one is the one with the brown coat.
Yeah.
And the one with the shotgun takes the longest, but has the most knockback and damage. He has a shotgun!
Yeah.
So, that's that on that. His percentage climbed very quickly on these last stocks.
Yeah, suddenly, Rawk at 80%, where I think 2 seconds ago, he was not at that percent.
Yeah, no, he was looking far healthier, but Zane's turned up the pressure on the projectile game.
And now Zane with a small lead, in fact. Rawk just kind of wanted to get back to what he was doing before. It was working out, but something about the way Zane's disrupted the tempo is
paying
going to
dividends.
turn it all around. Wow.
I think the fact that Zane adjusted their projectile game to cover the plats really well started to make all of that safe space where Rawk was comfortable camping into a danger zone all of a sudden.
Yeah, rather than try to shark with up airs, Zane switched it up and decided to use the can more and throw more like clay pigeons at the platforms from a distance. And by disrupting the shield timings, like was able to find the up airs eventually.
See, that's why I thought initially sitting on the plats was super smart from Rawk, because that lateral space, when you have to worry about the gunman shooting at you, the clay shooter coming at you, the can, for the most part, comes at you laterally. It comes in an arc, but it is straightforward. And then Duck Hunt himself, like, Fair and Bear are both probably the more important of the aerials when it comes to just pressure and neutral. And all of that's in a straight line. If you disrupt that to be more vertically oriented, you're kind of fine, but Duck Hunt can move up to the plats just as well as Samus can.
Yes, but like unable to apply good shield pressure on the plats without the help of the projectiles. So it's really the manipulation of those projectiles that's going to make a difference here. So we'll see how Zane applies that projectile manipulation and if it works out again in game 2 here.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of layers to how both of these players have to shoot the gun, so to speak. Because even though both have really good projectiles, like, seeing the way they interact is what really makes it fun. Look at that!
That up tilt was interesting, and honestly, it could have worked out either way, but Zane, I guess, caught a lucky break there. Wow. That gunman kind of absorbing the Zaire makes Zaire kind of an unappealing option. Might want to just go for more grabs instead. Ooh, the high up B.
Oh, no, you can't come aggressive while the can is chasing you down.
Look at all this acrobatics and gymnastics that Zane is doing to get around a fortress of a Samus who gets dismantled by that awesome combo. The 5 ticks on the can into the down throw.
Like, down throw can is a pretty typical Duck Hunt combo. It's very reliable because of the angle that it keeps you lingering.
You see him crouched to avoid the charge shot because the can covered the exact same low profile. That's awesome. That's so cool.
This matchup's good for Duck Hunt. It's good in the weirdest of ways because these are, like we led into this set, 2 characters that you don't tend to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Let alone see fight each other.
Yeah, I can say confidently I've never seen this matchup.
Having played this matchup extensively, I can tell you it's such an odd matchup, but a very fun one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's kind of coming through in the gameplay that we're seeing because with this being game 2, and there's just so much tension behind each of these little plays. Like, this is the first time where we're really definitively seeing a lead. Like, even though it's tied stocks, all of these interactions have been occurring on Zane's call. All of a sudden, like, keeping those plats like Rawk was doing in game 1 is the game plan that Zane has adapted into their workflow. And now Rawk has to find the answers to it.
Yeah, now it's Zane who looks like they're using the platforms to kind of circle camp around Rawk a little bit. And how do you catch the dog? Especially when you're getting chased down by a can and a gunman. Oh, a bit of a mix-up there with the recovery, and gives Rawk a slight lead here.
Every charge counts, I guess.
Gotta get my steps in. All right, I think that's what Rawk was trying to do last time, just a quick charge shot, like. But the platform kind of disrupted it anyway, so I don't know, very interesting interaction there.
Oh, that gunman got ripped apart.
I love how Rawk switches up his tempo to go from very passive to, oh, I have a lead, time to stack on the damage. And I think he's playing better as the aggro. So I've brought this up before, but in card games like Magic the Gathering, you have to always identify who benefits from being the aggro, like who benefits from ending the game faster, and who benefits from prolonging the game. And I think that in this matchup in particular, Samus wants to end the game because the longer you're on the screen with this dog, the the more likely you are, because it only takes one of the many combo starters that Duck Hunt has to get 80% out of nowhere, whereas Samus does not have the same luxury. So you just want to kind of end the game before Duck Hunt finds a chance to do that. But look at here what Zane's doing. This zoning option, like these zoning options are fantastic. And Rawk's not really able to find a way in to secure this stock now.
Like to build on the analogy that you've used, like both of these characters do tend to be of the more aggressive when it comes to the zoning characters. So it leads one to wonder what happens when you pit two aggressive zoners next to each other. The more aggressive player is going to be able to make a lot more of those plays happen on their call. And I think that's why Game 2 really found its way into Rawk's slot.
Yeah, and even Game 1, where Rawk had a pretty sizable lead, I think he was up a full stock or at least a half stock at some point. Zane closed the gap by being aggressive and by controlling the tempo. So it looks like tempo control is what this one's going to be all about.
At the end of the day, that's really what it means to be a zoner. Like, zoning isn't just throwing projectiles. Zoning is, as is implied by the name, you're controlling a zone.
Yeah.
It's what I think Samus and Duck Hunt are really good at is that they could very aggressively adjust what that zone is and how they control it. So now you have what's effectively a mobile projectile war. And whoever's coming out on top is the one who says, all right, it's going at my pace now. So Game 3 bringing us to Smashville is definitely going to set a higher pace much quicker because there's a lot less space to control here.
I'm going to get a little bit of flack for saying this, I'm sure. People are going to be like, Face, what are you talking about? I don't think Samus is a zoner. I know what you're saying. Like, she has projectiles. Sure she does, right? But Duck Hunt has 3 options, all of which cover slight variations of different types of lateral space, right? Like, having 3 ways to control zones makes you a zoner. Samus doesn't necessarily control as like the missiles suck, right? Let's just say that much.
Well, they exist.
Yeah.
They also do a lot of damage, and regardless of how effective they are on hit, you do have to react to them.
I guess that's true.
On top of that, what I think really defines the zone of control that Samus builds up isn't just like the missiles or the charge shot, which are overall tools in her game plan. It's Zair. As long as you're in Zair range, you're in Samus's control.
Yes, I think that her game plan is more, she to me feels more like Shulk or Marth in the sense that Zair is her like, that's her zone.
I mean, that's her disjoint. Yeah. That's a really important disjoint for her game because as long as you stay out of that field, you have no impact on the game. Once you get yourself into that zone, well, all of a sudden you have to worry about all the other tools that Samus has to throw at you.
True.
To keep the conversation rolling, I feel like that Zair, so to speak, as far as how it fits into the game plan for Duck Hunt, is the can. As long as that can is in position, Duck Hunt is able to control what's happening.
Yes.
And the Wild Gunman and the Clay Shooter just further facilitate that game plan. It makes for both of these characters being super dynamic, where, like, yeah, you could sit at the other side of the stage and just throw stuff, and maybe you could win like that.
I think Duck Hunt can win like that. I don't think Samus can. I don't think her projectiles are good enough, and, well, Morphball Bomb isn't even a projectile. It's just like a button. I don't know. It's like a down tilt, like.
No, I get what you're talking about. But, like, the idea that I'm getting across is that, like, you can play these characters a lot of different ways because the ways that their tools don't work in just one set way.
That's a good way to put it. I agree with that. Like, you definitely can play Duck Hunt lots of different ways, and to a degree, Samus as well. Wow, that corner pressure.
Well, Rawk's going to have to figure out a different way to play as we move into Game 4, because I don't think playing on Smashville was the way. That looked like a really good game for Zane.
Yeah, I mean, I know we were chatting about it the whole time, but, like, that, there was no, like, what...
To make the conversation relevant, there was no escape from where Can was controlling space.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was Zane's space to control the entire game.
Exactly. So, like, where do you want to go as Samus? Do you risk going to a stage like Kalos and...
I think that is the pick. I think Kalos is the pick here.
It's weird, though, because I don't think you want to give Duck Hunt all the room to run away with. Like, Samus isn't exactly fast, and... I don't know.
So here's one of the fatal flaws of Duck Hunt, and this sort of puts a little cap on the conversation we had through Game 3. Duck Hunt's controlling a space predicated almost entirely on how well the Duck Hunt player is able to use Can as their point of control. Kalos is a lot of space.
And Can only controls so much of it, yeah.
Exactly. Lilac Cruz is kind of an inverse way of looking at this, where, like, there's a lot of active space for you to stand on. There's 3 platforms and the base plat.
I mean, with Rawk going with his plan of I'm going to camp the platforms and up B out of shield when you do a bad up air, like that 34 damage already. Oh my goodness. Like that, this stage will work wonders with that. Yeah.
On top of that, I feel like Samus is able to play from the ledge better than Duck Hunt just because of how a lot of her tools work. And Lilat's got the dip at the wings. That dip at the wings acts as a proverbial ledge because you are below the lateral space of the base plat.
Yeah, you are you're Anakining this situation. You know, you have literal low ground, right? Which will come into play in a projectile war because like spacing is everything, and you can crouch under certain projectiles that normally you couldn't, etc.
I love that you verbed a Star Wars character.
You have to. Like, someone has to have the high ground, and but it wasn't Obi-Waning because you have the low ground, you know?
Yeah, no, I get you. Regardless, seeing the way the projectiles are trading space, it looks like Zane just has like a lot of fire beneath them because they've been taking a lot of initiative to push a lot of these interactions. And percentage right now is at least reflecting that lead. But who's to say Rawk can't turn it around real quick?
These Zers are working out, though, like you said. Like, they do cut through a lot of stuff and, like, kind of give the can a slightly hard time. Oh, just in time with the clay pigeon, but Rawk reacts first and gets a fast up B and secures the first stock.
All right, playing with the lead, this is going to be a really important piece of time for Rawk because now he's forcing the initiation from Duck Hunt Dog. These little bits of damage that Rawk is getting in spite of Zane catching up on stock count, really important in the long run, I feel.
Yeah, 35% extra credit means that, like, now that one little up air means a 50% lead, which is nothing to sneeze at.
No, yeah, it's the difference of that one charge shot mattering.
Yeah. Oh, waited so patiently for that roll, but Rawk reacted really fast with another up B and kind of traded it awkwardly.
Yeah, no, because of the different elevations on this stage, it's going to lead to a lot of awkward trades.
Yep.
Like, those who aren't a fan of Lilac Cruz are no stranger to this, but Lilat's weird. Lilat's weird, and these characters definitely will remind you of that in the littlest of ways throughout neutral.
Sure. I think Lilat gets a lot of hate for being quote-unquote weird, but I don't think it's that weird, especially, like, I don't know.
I'm certainly biased because I feel like the stage is weird in ways that facilitates this type of play. Like, they're keeping a mid to long range, letting the projectiles do a bit of the work, and then they're coming in to take advantage of the fact that the plats are close to the base plat, so you could sort of rush in and cover space as long as you don't commit to a button super hard.
Yeah, you can, like there's the retreating platform height is low enough where you can kind of cover the ground and the platform, like, relatively easily with, like, one or two like, select options.
Oh, not yet.
Like, that forward air covered flat and under flat.
It's also worth noting, and this is for both, just all projectiles in general, when you start them, like, at the wings, they're covering that space along the ground in a way that most projectiles don't naturally cover.
Yes, but one thing to keep in mind, especially with the clay pigeon, is that is a projectile which is affected by gravity, and if it starts lower, it doesn't go as far, right? So clay pigeon out of the corner won't even reach half stage, whereas on another stage it would, right?
Yeah, likewise, it could stall on the burners. Like, there's a lot of little interactions that sort of add up to making this a very bizarre stage. And it's why it's working out for Rawk in the littlest of ways. Like, you know, Rawk's got a minor lead. And I feel like Rawk is playing the stage super well.
Yes.
At the same time, I feel like Zane is just adjusting to the stage pretty well and playing a very solid hybrid of relying on their aerial normals and letting the projectiles play the game from afar.
Yes. Oh, but this juggle means death for Rawk if he can't find a way back to the ground. Oh, wrong way on the pigeon. Giving Rawk a free get out of jail card.
Oh, that's back air? Oh, but
The
not.
sour spot means that this game continues. Rawk gets one more chance here. He's got to get a... Oh, that pressure was so good. Couldn't really let go of the shield because of the threat of the can.
That's too far.
And he didn't get the Zaire as intended, which means Rawk falls to Zane 3-1 in losers finals.